guys? I'm gonna keep this one. I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet. But I don't know if you guys remember in my the first video I did on the 1K daily 90, where I showed you guys what the miles I was doing, and one of them was I back lowering springs. Well, long story short, I was on eBay one day just looking up, when the item's supposed to be here, and I saw on the listing it said E90 to M3, and I was like, oh, I misread it. So after doing research, because I was gonna see if I could still make them work, I found out that the rears would work, but the fronts you would have to possibly get M3 shocks because the springs won't match up or anything like that, and I didn't want to deal with all that. So I ended up having to sending them back tomorrow, and I ended up having to find some new springs. So I was on eBay one day, and me being cheap, I usually don't, with suspension, I usually don't cheap out. I usually get stuff used, but I couldn't find no used springs, and I'm trying to keep this under budget. I bought H&Rs for $250, but I'm sending those back too because that kind of shot me over the budget. So I ended up seeing an ad for some lowering springs that were red on eBay, and I read through them. They were $100, and I said, you know what, let me go ahead and buy it.
Motherfucker, are you out of your damn mind?
But when I bought it, I was kind of like, nah, I shouldn't have done that. And then by the time I was trying to do it, they already shipped them, and they said on there they won't return them. So I figure win or lose, I'm out of $100 anyways. I think it was $140 shipped with the taxes and everything, but I just received them today. So this is what they look like. This is spring. I guess it's the same S952, whatever's cold wounded steel, powder coated red. I matched them up, so I'm sending these H&Rs back tomorrow. The H&Rs are really nice, very high quality. I mean, it's just worth every penny. But I figure 260, 140. I figure like worst case these don't work, I take them out and I buy the H&Rs, or I put the sports springs back on. Whatever, either way it go. But put this back in the box. So what I was trying to figure out was what springs, because let's be honest with you, most springs are manufactured in the same place, or unless you're getting them from from H&R, Ibach. Most of the time, most springs are made in the same factory. They just rebranded. So I was trying to figure out what springs were these, like what springs were they knockoffs, quote unquote knockoffs of. And after doing research, I think you see the lowering spring on the rear. It's a progressive design. Which I just found out. I didn't know the difference, but I just found out it's a progressive design because you have the long coils and then the short coils and back long again. And the only spring, because every spring, even if you look at this H&R here, it looks more linear. Upon doing some research, the only springs that look very similar were Teen S-Techs. I looked up Teen S-Techs, a lot of good reviews on the Teen, so I figure, what's the worst that could happen? I honestly don't see these cracking in half. I just can't see unless I just can't see a spring cracking in half. The only thing that might happen, they might sag. I figure, let me put them on. I know it's a pain in the ass to do it, but I figured let me try them. Let me put them on, see how they work, see how they, see what they do. And and keep you guys posted. We'll do an initial review, see how they ride, and I'm gonna do like a 6-month review. And if they're a go, we'll make it a go. We'll just say I'll say I recommend them, or they suck, or I take them out. You know, either way it go, we're gonna give it a shot. So, all right. As I always say, excuse my garage. I got a lot of projects going on right now. Anyway, so as y'all can see, I took the shock out, took the stock spring out, which is right here. I used this spring compressor off of Amazon. I bought it because it had really good reviews and it has more of the safeties. I was definitely doing this. I was always scared of Migueling my shit, as I call it. But yeah, I was able to get it off pretty easy. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start putting everything back together now, and goal is try to get this done, all 4 done by 11:30. I got 2 hours, so I'm gonna try to see if I can get it so we don't get to moving. As you can see, we got the spring on. Thing I found out when you do these, you gotta make sure you got these the strut bearing. That's what I was struggling with. Make sure you have your strut bearing washers aligned up right, or the bearing won't spin. So I was able to get that done. So I'm going to knock the other side out, and we'll be done. All right, so today I wanted to give an update on the Loring Springs. I let it so I just been driving to Loring Springs for about 500 miles now, and I say it's finally settled. My review on the springs, they're pretty good. Actually, they're just a little bit stiffer than the stock springs with the V8s. So it actually kind of gets to show that whole theory on, are cheap Loring Springs really bad because you put them on stock struts? Because a lot of people got a misconception that, oh, don't do springs because you don't do springs because it's gonna ride like shit. That's not true. The problem is you put Loring Springs on stock struts that's not made for Loring Springs, not made for that spring rate. Whereas if you get a spring like a Coney Sport or a shock or a strut like a Bilstein B8 or a Coney Sport, you can run Loring Springs and you will not notice a change in your ride. You won't change the change. You won't notice it's like bottoming out and things like that because the springs can't take
the shocks can't take the springs and vice versa. So going back, I don't want to get off tangent, but I say the springs are pretty good. However, when I put the Bilstein on B8s and HR combo on my 135i, the front end was raked, but the rear was like perfect. That's kind of how it's doing here. I'll show y'all a video a little later, but you can see how the front is kind of like raked, which I didn't want. I didn't want a raked front end. The back sits perfect. I will also say I had a lot of rubbing problems. That's because it's not just because of the lowering springs, also because of the wheels I chose to go with. The Style 124s have a very aggressive offset in the front because it's coming off of a 5 series. You're going from a 18x8 39 to a 18x8 20, which is almost a 20 millimeter offset difference. Now in the back as well, I have an aggressive offset because I'm running spacers in the back as well. So with that being said, the combination that have a lot of rubbing issues. I almost got the front figured out. I had to roll the front. I also had to kind of like trim some of the front off, some of the metal off. My bumper never, when I took the front bumper off to do the headlights, the front bumper, because it's such an old car, every mount piece broke off and didn't go back on properly. So I knew even from having the 135 when I took the front bumper off that I'm gonna have to, I didn't want to go the clap route using I didn't use the rubber band with 2 mounts thing to keep the bumper up. Nah, I did a different setup. Did the quick bumper release buttons. If you follow, he actually has a kit that's like $85, which I say go with his kit if you just want to have something ready made. Michael Page, who is the LS swap god, shout out to him. Maybe using him in the future anyway. But I saw his kit, but I went off of his and made my own kit. Made it for like $20. I used L brackets from Lowe's, and I bought the kit from Amazon for $10 that had both of the buttons, the quick release kits in it. So got that going out again. You'll see that in a later video, but I did want to leave a review on that. That came out, that so far so good. I like the ride. It's a little harsh, but I'm used to it from having a vet. It doesn't even bother me because the vet ride is rough, so I'm used to it. Still is very smooth. Like I said, Bilsteins have a very smooth ride going down. Like if you're riding on a road that's like smooth and a little wave, when it's smooth and a little wavy, it's very smooth. But when you go into like the clashing, when you get into like the hard stiff bumps, that's when you start to notice that it does hit hard. I mean, not hard, but it's a little, it can be a little rough, a little harsh. I would say overall, I'd say the springs, I'm still giving a little more time. So far 2 weeks, I haven't noticed any like sagging issues. I haven't noticed any issues like that, but it does ride really well. I really believe that they're teen S-Techs. So I would say I give this mod like an 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. Value for the money, definitely a 10 out of 10. But honestly, you can spend $80 more and get you a set of real teens, or you can spend another $100 and get you a real set of H&Rs as well. So I mean, I say I just bought them because I was in a rush to get something, and I couldn't return them because at that time, by the time I already bought them, I was like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. What am I doing? But I ended up they didn't return them, so I ended up just having to take a chance and throw them on. It was worth it for me, but I don't know about you guys. So definitely say it's a go. But I'm gonna leave this one here, and I'm gonna come back later with a video showing you how low it sits. So as you can see, this is how low it sits. It's a little lower than I wanted to be, so I got some E90 purchase coming. You can see my bumper cracked here. This is what I was telling y'all about, the bumper buttons, the quick release buttons. I don't want to take them off just yet because they're hard to get back on, but like I said, it ain't the prettiest, but
It's cool, works for now. All right, so guys, that concludes this video. Like always, like, subscribe. You know, I got some more content coming soon, but I appreciate the, you know, subscribe to the page, like the videos. Really appreciate it. Don here checking out.